Okay, so a couple weeks ago, first day of class, we talked about what is graphic design, and um, we know that the main purpose of graphic design is communication. It's not like typical art where you're just expressing yourself and putting whatever you want on the canvas, although you can mix that in with graphic design. The main purpose, though, is usually communication, because as a graphic designer, you're probably going to be advertising something, so you're trying to get a message across. So that's why we're talking about the elements of design: line, shape, form, space, color, and texture. What is that? Six of them. Sometimes you'll see like seven or eight elements of design. They throw in a point in there and maybe another one, but same basic idea you get at the end. So, talked about line, shape, form, space, color, and texture, and we haven't gotten to the principles yet. Okay, I don't think we did. So let's talk about the 10 principles of design, starting with balance. Okay, so balance is the distribution of visual weight of objects, colors, texture, and space. If the design was a scale, these elements should be balanced to make a design feel stable. In symmetrical balance, the elements used on one side of design are similar to those on the other side. So in this case, a car is going to be symmetrically balanced. Usually it's the same on the left and the right side. Most of the time, there are cars that are uh, not symmetrically balanced. I think, um, what was the example? I remember one of my students had a car with three doors. That would probably be an example. And here's the one I was thinking of. This one car. It's a concept car though, but it's asymmetrical. But usually they're not like that. So there's different types of balance. Asymmetrical balance, the sides are different but still look balanced. So in the case of this image of the chessboard, even though it's not the same on both sides, the weight is the same. So there's one large piece on one side, four smaller pieces on the other side. So in the end, they sort of balance. You have radial balance, where um, everything's balanced around center. Um, okay, next point, emphasis. You could tie balance into emphasis. If you're trying to emphasize something, you would keep it in the center. Um, and when everything is balanced, your eye is kind of drawn to the center. So it would be a good place to place objects that you want to focus on. Okay. But yeah, emphasis is the part of the design that catches the viewer's attention. Usually the artist will make one area stand out by contrasting it with other areas. The area could be different size, color, texture, shape, etc. So in this case, the bottom left image, we have one dark circle out of all of these other lighter gray circles. So obviously the emphasis is on that one. The main image here, the taxi, is the center of attention because it's the only thing with color. So you're using color in this case. Here you're using contrast. Here you're using color. Again, contrast technically. Um, and here we're using a different size. So you don't necessarily have to make something bigger than everything else to add emphasis to it. In this case, it's the smaller circle that has emphasis because it's different than the rest of them. Okay, here we have movement. This one's the most difficult one, I think, to master in your artwork when you're trying to add movement to something. Um, It's the path the viewer's eye takes through the work of art, often to focal areas. Such movement can be directed along lines, edges, shapes, and colors within the work of art. So, the famous Last Supper, you the movement is in the the faces and the arms, the hands sort of pointing towards the center. So no matter where you look, they're looking in this direction. So you look at this guy, he's sort of guiding you towards this guy, who's guiding you towards this guy with the hand pointing you. So they're sort of directing your eye to the center. And same from this side. Okay, it could be a little bit more difficult in some other situations to see the movement. In this case, there's sort of a spiral in this design. The arrow's kind of getting in the way, but you've got a circle sort of pointing towards this upper tower. Same with this giant bug creature. Um, there's lines, the arms, and the whatever this thing is, mandibles, kind of curving towards here and then back up towards the face. Okay, and then in this one, there's movement. This is more straight lines. Um, I forgot which one of your designs was. I think one of the last ones we saw with the lines coming towards the center. This is kind of the same idea. You have lines pointing towards the head of this giant bird or whatever it is. Alright, pattern. It's the repeating of an object or symbol all over the work of art. So everyone knows what a pattern is. It's repetition. You can create a pattern out of shapes. You can also do it with text. If you want a more simple design you're working on, you can use repeated text to create what do you call it? Create repetition, but it's a way to leave out other images if you want to work with text. I don't have an example here though. Rhythm is created when one or more elements of design are used repeatedly to create a feeling of organized movement. Rhythm creates a mood like music or dancing. To keep rhythm exciting and active, variety is essential. Um, so yeah, instead of like in music you have a rhythm, you could also have a visual rhythm. It's sort of like a pattern, except it's not, you're not just strictly repeating the image. There is some variation. Okay, proportion. The feeling of unity created when all parts, sizes, amounts, or number relate well with each other. When drawing the human figure, proportion can refer to the size of the head compared to the rest of the body. And here you're using proportion to show distance. You have a human figure here with little houses in the distance. So making her bigger and making those smaller creates the sense of distance, sense of depth. Same with here, we got trees closer to us are going to be bigger than the ones in the distance. And any lines that you have, they're going to recede to the back. And then here, you could play around with proportion to create illusions. So in this case, the orange dot is the same size, but surrounding it with bigger dots makes this one look smaller and makes this one look bigger because we have smaller dots surrounding that one. And variety, use of several elements of design to hold the viewer's attention and to guide the viewer's eye through and around the work of art. So in this one, you have pretty chaotic image here, but there is some attempt to guide your eyes through the work of art. Like in this one, you sort of have curves. You follow the lines. You look at the other ones, come back around. This one's a little bit more difficult to actually explain. And you have unity, the feeling of harmony between all parts of the work of art, which creates a sense of completeness. Unity is very important in branding. You want to um, create a brand that's easily recognizable. So you're going to have repeating colors and textures and same sort of style. And by having similarities like that, you're going to create harmony. Um, yeah. Otherwise, it would be hard to recognize your work from someone else's, right? If you don't have a specific style or a specific brand image. And that's important in building a brand. And that is all I have for this PDF, but we got plenty more. Now, in the meantime, before I open the next one, we can try out some of these principles. I should keep that open. Let's go back. Why don't we attempt some of these? This time, let's use Illustrator. I think it'll be easiest if we used Illustrator. Which one I guess we should go through all of them. Maybe not all of them. Let's at least do balance, right? So if we're trying to create balance, in this case, we already have symmetrical balance. You got the same on both sides, top and bottom also, and all around. Why don't we all open up Illustrator and then follow along? We'll look at some simple techniques in Illustrator and look at the tools. In case you don't know how to use it, this will be good practice. I'm gonna just open up Illustrator and let's pick one of the presets here. So there's one for art and illustration, and I'm pretty sure this has a square. Maybe it doesn't have a square. Print maybe? Web. I thought there was a square preset. Anyways, it doesn't have to be a perfect square. Let's go with web large 1920 by 1080. Okay, so say we're working on an ad. Actually, since we are working on an ad, I want to pick an actual ad size. Your Instagram ads are typically a square, right? But you also have sort of the 1080 by 1920 portrait mode. But I think for ads, it's usually a square. And it's not just Instagram, it's also Facebook and Twitter. Most of those are going to be square ads for social media. So, and it's going to be 1080 by 1080 usually. I think that's the minimum size that if you were going to submit an ad to a company that's going to advertise, they're going to ask you to submit something that's at least 1080 by 1080. So we'll go with that size. And I want to create an ad with balance. So that means first of all, we're going to need some text. Now, the hardest part is always, because this is not my job, the hardest part is coming up with what are we advertising and what's the copy or the text that's going to go into the ad. So I'll either copy someone. Let's look for an existing ad somewhere. You know, I saw this ad recently for, speaking of taking care of your teeth, I saw an ad about remineralizing gum, gum that's supposed to be good for your teeth. And I forgot what the brand was, but I'm sure if I Google it, I'll be able to find it real quick. So here, let me bring up a new tab here, and let's look up remineralizing gum. I think underbrush was the main one. So let's make a little ad for this and have it use balance. And we'll just use some of this text as an example. Okay, so here's the text that you're given. This will be the next assignment, but what do you guys prefer? Should we all do the world's first miracle remineralizing gum, or do you want to pick your own topics? Let's do a little vote. I'm gonna actually create a little, what do you call it? A poll. Since it is almost break time, maybe we'll come back from break and then we'll see what the results are. But where's the tool for creating a poll? More polls. There we go. Oh, this is an old poll. Let's create a new one.
I guess the question is this, do you have to chew the gum every day?
Oh, we gotta read about it. Uh, Next assignment. Choice one is what was the name of it? Underbrush.
Underbrush.
Choice two, you pick. How do we launch this? Save. Oh, it disappeared. Launch. Cool. Alright, so we'll come back from break and then we'll see what you guys chose. Gonna pause recording and we can take a break. Okay. So we're gonna create an ad for Underbrush. It'll be an Instagram ad or a social media ad. It'll be a square ad. 1080 by 1080 square. And before we begin the ad, we need to figure out we need to get a good feel of what their brand is like so we can, you know, make the ad in the same brand. It's very, you can tell it's minimal. There's a lot of use of white space. I think even in the packaging itself, lots of empty space. They didn't use like a textured background or anything. It's just a flat color background. They've got this red and this teal color. and they've got a logo. We're gonna need to extract the logo. I'll probably just download the logo and then I'll stick it in the Google Classroom so you guys don't have to figure out how to download it. Um, the imagery that they use is pine trees. And the whole purpose of the gum is to remineralize your teeth, or it's for good oral hygiene. So clean teeth, clean design. We're gonna try to avoid too much texture and
Say minimalist. What?
yeah, it's definitely minimalist, and it's a good candidate for a balanced design, right? So yeah, um, I'm gonna start by figuring out what text we're gonna need. I think the world's first miracle remineralizing chewing gum. We're gonna need that in there somewhere. We'll need the logo. Let's see if we could grab the logo. Uh, Save image as. If we could get a vector, that would be great. It looks like it's a WebP image, which is not so great because then we can't really scale it. But we might just leave it small. Let me see what this looks like if we bring it in here. Wait, that's not it. I think I have to actually open the downloads folder. Wait, it's not here though. Where did it download to? Probably on my desktop. There it is. Okay, so WebP is sort of a new format. It's supposed to be more efficient than JPEG. So it is a raster format, meaning it's made out of pixels, but it's supposed to have a better compression than a JPEG. So it means you're gonna have a smaller file size and keep the same quality. But obviously this is not gonna do it. This is tiny. This is meant to be looked at in a small size. We need to find a better logo. I don't know if we'll be able to find one though. It is sort of a new company, I think. Underbrush Gum logo. Let's just go into their website again. Alright. We have a problem. The logo is not available on the internet, it looks like. Not in the format that we need. So I'll just have to find, I don't know, the largest image of the logo I can. I'm gonna try to recreate it. We're gonna need a good quality logo. Okay, so it is the same logo, I think, here and there, but this is a slightly bigger image. So let's take a look at the logo. It's just trees, pine trees. Let's see, what's the best way? Should we find another picture of pine trees and then let's do pine tree logo. Pine tree vector. Just gonna find something similar and then recreate a logo. It doesn't have to be exact because it's just a project, and if this was the real thing, we were making an ad for them, they would give us the actual file that we need. So I think Photoshop has some tree brushes we could use, but see if we can find something here. Pine tree vector. So for sure they don't have a bigger one. Let's just try this. I'm gonna try to vectorize this. So what I'll do is just take a screenshot of just this area right here. Paste it. And image trace. Hopefully we get a decent trace. Let's try 3 colors. It's very pixelated looking. I'm gonna try upscaling it real quick in Photoshop. Gonna go to filter, neural filters, and we should be able to upscale this with the new neural filters that Photoshop added. They've got this super zoom. Let's increase it, let's say 4 times. Reduce noise, sharpen, and click OK. Let's see what that gives us. Still very pixelated looking. Anyways, let me trace this image, see if it does better in Illustrator. 3 colors. That's fine. Okay, it's a little pixelated looking, but I'm gonna expand this. Expand makes it so that you're able to edit it. Then we just need to delete some of the red part. Actually, we could do this. Right now it's grouped together. So we double click. Now we're in isolation mode, which means we can only edit what's in that group right now. I can't touch any of the other stuff. So with the magic wand, double click the magic wand, make sure it's set to fill color, lower the tolerance a little. You can lower it all the way to 0 because we just want this red color, but looks like there is like a slight variation. If you can see, there's a slightly lighter red and a darker red, so we'll leave it at like 4. And then with the magic wand, if I click the red part, looks like I'll have to shift click. Actually no, it looks like it did select all of that, so I'm gonna press delete and we're just left with the trees. Alright, and what can we do about these square pixel looking parts? We could try effect. What can we do to get rid of those angles? I don't think any of these effects will work. What about object, path, simplify? You know what? It's fine. Let it be a little pixely looking. Um, I could technically do this and smooth these angles like so, no, but that's too much work. Okay, we don't have a perfect logo, but we'll use this one. Alright, so that's basically their logo. Let's just get it in solid black for now. Going back to their website, let me see if I got the full logo. I already downloaded it. At least it's better than that, right? We're gonna need to find a font that's similar to this. We should keep the fonts the same as the brand. That helps with, the unity aspect of it. Um, to find the exact font, it looks like a pretty basic sans serif font. So we could type underbrush, make that all caps. Clicking this button here, all caps. Right, and then looks like the letters are spread apart a little bit, so we go to the character panel and we increase the tracking. Let's just bring it up to like 200, and then I'm gonna scroll through. So like I said, there's not really a good way to manage your fonts in Adobe right now. You could filter it. Let's do a filter by sans serif. Sans serif means without the little tips at the end of the letters. Um, so with the filter set, I'm gonna just scroll through my sans serif fonts right now. Okay, there we go. I don't know why it was empty at first. And it looks like a bold font, so let's set this to bold. And we just scroll through. This looks, look at like any characteristics that are easy to spot on the letter. Like for the B, it's smaller on the top and bigger on the bottom. The S is pretty full, kind of like this one, but this is a little too bold. I'll start by going through like the typical fonts you'll see used a lot, like Poppins. It looks like it could be Poppins. Not really. And there are tools online you can use to find fonts, like What the Font, if you've heard of that one. This site, you basically take a picture of the text, you upload it, and then it tries to find something for you. But I already know it's not really gonna give me accurate results with something this basic. So I'm better off just picking something close to it right now. Century Gothic it could also be. Let's check out Century Gothic. Uh, Probably not Century Gothic, just because of the S. The S looks different. And then so far, Poppins was the closest. It wasn't exact, but pretty close. And I'm gonna kind of move this to the left side so this drop down doesn't cover it so much. Move it up, I guess. And hopefully I don't have too many fonts to scroll through. So Franklin Gothic is another common one. I think it's Franklin Gothic. The R looks a little different. Let's check regular. No. Franklin Gothic medium. Pretty close. It's as close as Poppins. Whatever this is, Newhouse Grotesque, that looks close to, except for the R. And then Montserrat, it's another popular one, but I don't think it's that. So looks like Poppins is the closest match. I might just go with Poppins. Let me just go through the rest. There's not too many left. Roboto. Oh, it could also be Roboto. I'm gonna stick with Roboto. It's not the exact same font, but close enough. And want to match this, so I think the weight of the font is pretty close. Bold would be maybe bold. And then let's increase the tracking. So I already set it to 200, but that's not enough. Need to go a little bit more. So I'll just click the arrow up until it matches. There we go. We could also set the kerning to optical. Increase this a little bit more. Keep this on auto. That's close enough. Okay, and then above that, it's gonna say Nathan and Sons. Maybe in a non-bold. Could go medium. Yeah, close enough. Bring this here. And there we go, we have the logo. Much better. And I'm gonna grab the color off of this. So when you're grabbing color off of images, you can just use the eyedropper. If you're using an older version of Illustrator, you might have to hold shift before you click an image to pick up the color. But yeah, there we go. We got the logo, so let's group that together. Object, group. And I guess I could share this with you guys. Go file. File, export. Export for screens. I'm gonna do a SVG. That's the best format if you want to be able to scale it and edit it. I'm gonna export that. Let's export this to the desktop. There it is. I'm gonna share this. Oh, thank you, Emil. I wasn't happy with that logo that we created. Looks like Emil found a logo off their Facebook, which was better quality. So maybe we'll use that. Let me go back to Illustrator.
Welcome.
Where did I save it to? Oh, it's in Documents. Let's move it to the desktop. Yeah, much better. Much better. Because I was not digging this pixelated thing we created. Alright, image trace should be much better on this one. Let's try it. Yeah, it's much cleaner. Expand. Double click. Delete the white part. And then let's bring that and replace the other one. Alright, let's all share this with you guys. Alright, I put it in the chat. Let me also put it on Google Classroom before I forget. Let's call this balanced add brush. Okay, so you guys all have that. If you wanna follow along, you can now. So, what's our options? If we want a balanced ad, we could start by putting the logo right in the center and have our text that we're gonna have. This is one of our options. Let's increase the font size here. You can start with this sort of layout. And if we were gonna do this, we would wanna make sure this fits on one line. And what sort of balance is this? You guys remember? Starts with a S. So it's symmetrically balanced. It's the same on the both sides, right? Well, not exactly because we have text, but um, very symmetrical. So you could start with that, and you would be pretty much redoing the packaging if you did this. But I want to go for a balanced design, but not symmetrical like this. So I want to go more for having a logo up in the top left corner and our message maybe on the left side like this. I'm gonna convert this text box. So in Illustrator, there's two ways to create text. One is you click and drag the text box type tool, creates this box. But if you want to scale it, it doesn't really scale when you hold shift even. It's just making the box bigger and smaller. So every time I want to change the font size, I actually have to change the font size. That could be annoying. So the other way to create text is to just click and then type in what you need to type. When you do it that way, you do this, it actually scales it. But when this one, it just makes the box bigger. So I think there's a way to convert it though. If we go to type, convert to point type, now I can do this. Okay, I'd rather do that. So yeah, now it's easier to just set the size whatever I need. And we can play with the font sizes still by increasing this, I think, to make it the same width as this. And we're gonna need to figure out the layout for this. So we do want a picture somewhere, maybe of the gum itself, like this. We already have a picture, we just grabbed it from their website. Could also grab this image instead. It's good to have options, so just bring the images that you need. This one was a PNG, so it has a black background. Whenever you have a PNG, you don't want the black background. Instead of copy pasting it, you gotta save it. Well, it was not really a PNG, it's still a WebP. WebP happens to have the benefits of PNGs and JPEGs, but at a smaller file size. So the transparent background, instead of being black now, it should be clear since I downloaded it. Oh wait, I grabbed the wrong thing. Where'd it go? That's downloads maybe? Oh. Oh, there it is. Alright, so we got choices here. We could go with this image, go with this image. We can also explore stock images. If you have an account with Shutterstock or Getty Images or iStock, what is it? iStock? I forgot what the names are. Those are more, you'll get a lot more choices there, more images, but you gotta pay for those. So what we'll do is we'll go to the free ones like Pexels, Unsplash, Pixabay, the three that I know of. And these give you images that you're allowed to use without having to credit anyone. As long as you're not reprinting and selling them or creating your own image website, you can do whatever else you want with these images. So we'll look for a smile, right? We want to show someone smiling with their bright teeth. So these sort of images would be appropriate for this, I think. And then we also have to think about the placement of it. I don't want to have text on top of the photo because it won't look big, won't look good. By the way, this should be the font that we're sticking with. So let's start. I think we went with Roboto bold, or it doesn't have to be bold for this text, but maybe I'll keep it bold or medium at least. Okay, and make sure this is centered. Actually, it doesn't need to be centered. I just need to scale this up a little to match the text above it. Looks better. I'm gonna use like the M here looks a little bit too far to the left, even though it's pretty much, I mean, if you brought out a ruler, you measured it, it's pretty close. But you also have to just kind of look at it and figure out what do you need to do to make that look a little better. I would push this to the right a little bit, and you could expand the text, which means you convert it into a shape, but you would no longer be able to edit the text. You wouldn't be able to type in there anymore if you did that. You did object expand, but you would be able to position it exactly where you want. But since I want to keep it as text for now, I'm just gonna add a space here, and I'm gonna hold the Alt button and just use holding the Alt button and pressing the left arrow on the keyboard. Just gonna adjust the position of that until I think it looks right. So I think there it looks fine. So even though, let's see, rulers, I think I have my rulers locked right now. Guides, unlock guides. So yeah, it's not exactly lined up with the T, but it doesn't need to be. The alignment looks better when this is slightly to the right, I think. I don't know if we need periods. And then I think might be easier to separate this text into another box. That's another way you could position it however you like. Also scale it more easily. Make sure when you're scaling text, you hold shift, otherwise you're going to stretch it. Stretched text does not look good. So make sure you hold shift. And if you did accidentally stretch it, there should be, I think in the transform, maybe not the transform, but maybe properties. Let's see, the properties panel. Pull this out like this. Or appearance, not properties. No, it's not there. Transform. Or it might be in, sorry, it might be in the character panel. Window, character. You gotta go down to type. Character. You could also just click this button here. But in the character panel, if I did stretch it, I think it would tell me here somewhere. Show options. Yeah, right here, horizontal scale. So if I actually scaled it like this, you can see the horizontal scale is at 30%. So make sure that's at 100%. That's how you know you didn't stretch the text. Okay, I'm also, now you could keep this together in the same text box, and if you want to move this down a little bit, hold the Alt button and then just press down on the arrow key. If you're on a Mac, that's Option. But since this is part of the same sentence, maybe it should be closer actually. Okay, and we got the picture of the gum. Still don't know if I'm gonna go with that one or this one. I might go with this one because it's got a clear background. The white around this one might be a problem unless I crop it out. You could take it into Photoshop and just delete the white background, which would be pretty simple. I don't think Illustrator has like an auto detect edges thing to crop it for you, but you could always, since this is like a pretty basic box, I could do this. I could just grab a rectangle, draw a rectangle over this, and then another one over this, another one over this one, and another one over this one. Then take all those shapes that I drew and just combine them together. You could use the shape builder tool and just drag over them. It'd be easier if you just grab the pathfinder and just click the first button, unite, to change it all into one solid shape. And because it has rounded corners, you could grab these corners and round them a little bit. And then you just grab the whole thing and say make clipping mask. And now we have that cut from the background. Looks like I left a little bit here, so just adjust it. Uh-oh, what happened? Didn't mean to do that. doesn't have to be perfect. I probably won't have anything behind it anyway. But anyway, now I have both of those. I don't know which one I'll use yet. I'll still need to bring the rest of my elements in, which will be a photo of someone chewing gum, or not chewing gum, but someone showing their bright white teeth. And again, thinking about where you're gonna put it, you want an image that's got some empty space on one side. So this would be good if I flipped it over, because she's facing, remember we talked about movement, directing people's eyes. There she's looking this way and her hand is pointing this way. So we'd be directing your attention towards the message that we have on the other side. We just need to reflect it. I probably will need to use Photoshop because I want to add some like fading to it. For that, I could do it here technically, but Photoshop's just better for that. And for this, we'd have to put the gum here in her hand. Maybe not exactly on her hand, just floating above it like this. But this leaves us very little room for the actual text, so that's the problem with this one here. We'd have to figure out where to put the text, and I wanted to have it more balanced, so it would be balanced technically, because if, let's say, we did fit all the text here somehow, we have a lot of darker colors on this side, so, and then on this side is kind of lighter colors. Even though this takes up less space, less of the width of the total thing, it is heavier in terms of color, and this side's a little bit brighter because of the brighter colors. We could adjust this, move it slightly this way. We don't have to show her entire body. We could bring her here, and that gives us a lot more room here for text. And then her hand is kind of a problem now because I wanted to put it here, but we can't really do that unless we reposition the text. Now I'm gonna actually separate the text because I want to more freely move it around. Maybe scale this down a little bit, over a little bit this way again. Just paste in that text that I cut out. Select all of that, make sure it's lined up to the left. And the word mineralizing is a little bit longer than the others, so I don't like the way it fits. And then we could put a little button here. Make the button this color. Order by now. Get it. Whatever you could think of that would make sense, and put that here. Maybe all caps. And it should be white because that background's sort of dark, so definitely white works better. Alright, now to get a good idea of what this would actually look like, we need to crop out this part. Maybe let me see if any of these views, maybe we could do a preview mode, a presentation mode. This is what it would actually look like. We cut off part of that image, but I'm still not happy with the way this fits here. So it's a start, but I wouldn't stop there. We could try this GOM and see if these packages fit better. Sort of does, but then this is the biggest problem here. Could also be the image. So we don't stop there, we keep trying. Okay, just giving you some ideas there. But I would rather have the text sort of fit either like this or at most on 2 lines. I would really rather have the text looking more like this. Oral care routine. You also have to think of it, if this was on a mobile device, on your phone, you would be looking at it up close, so you don't need to worry about the text looking too small at this size. I think it's big enough here that you would be able to read it, but try not to go too much smaller than that. And in this case, what is it? 34 for the smallest text I have at a 1080 by 1080 square. I want to try Poppins instead of Roboto. I feel like it's just a nicer font. Let's go medium for the button, bold for this one. I want to cut out some of the text because it's a little long, and I know it's going to be really tough to find a picture that fits on this side whenever you have text that long. So maybe we could do worlds first instead of the worlds first. And then we could leave out the word miracle. This gets a little too small though. So we have plenty of stuff on this side. We just need to balance it now with an image. So we tried this one. It was alright. We could have maybe done something, adjusted a little bit more to make it work. But I'm gonna keep looking, see what else I can find. Luckily, a smiling person is an easy image to find. Oh wait, this is iStock. We can't use that. They it was an advertisement. Sometimes they throw in these ads sponsored by iStock. We can't grab those, unfortunately. Unless you have an iStock account, then yeah. Kind of like this. The fact that she's angled this way means I have more room at the top. But I will definitely, because I don't really want a dark background like that, and also um, I don't want the image to be cut off right there. I will have to cut her out of there. So definitely need to use Photoshop. I could do the same thing I did with this, with the pen tool, like draw her shape and then mask it, but that would take longer than it needs to. So instead, we'll just bring her into Photoshop. And Photoshop has really good tools for removing backgrounds and selecting subjects. So we will do that. We just need to um, copy paste it again. So we copy. When you copy something to your clipboard, Photoshop will save the size of that in its presets here, clipboard. Right now we just need to use this tool here called the object selection tool and make sure you have that layer selected and see if this will do a good job cutting her out for us. And I think it looks good, at least from the preview. So we have that selected, I think. I don't know if it's loading or what right now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it was loading. Yeah, we selected her. Just gonna make sure looks good. What's all that? This was a large image, so it's kind of slow. See, when I'm zooming in, it's a little bit laggy. But I feel like I should shift select this part. I do want to include the hair. It looks like it wasn't included. You could manually add more to this. That ought to be good. Okay, the rest of it I think is fine. Here, let's grab some of this hair too. And this. Alright, and then we could further refine it. I'll just do a select and mask. Let's check it out on a white or black or a red background. See if it looks good. I'm most likely gonna put it on either a white background or I'll probably put it on this color or this red color. But red is sort of like a warning color, so I might just go with this color. Right? Gonna take a screenshot of this. Paste it here. Oh wait, I can't paste it here yet. Let me let's just pick that color here. I'll paste it here instead. I just want to grab this color again. This is slightly not the color I need. I think I need that color. So whatever color this is, I'm gonna copy that. And Photoshop, in this select and mask, you can change the color of the background here that you're previewing it on. So I'm just gonna paste this color that I'm gonna use. I want to see how it looks on that color background. And I think it looks fine except some weird stuff here. I think if we do, what tool is this? We need to use this one, I think, refine brush tool, and then make that a little bit bigger. Just click around the hair. That's making it worse. Let's try radius. Try smart radius. I'm just gonna click OK and see what's going on there. Okay, let's grab the object selection tool again. See if we could add more of the hair. Yeah, it says no pixels were selected. No, we're not selecting enough to actually grab anything. Let me just do this. Shift selecting it. Hopefully it grabs more of that hair there. Hair is difficult to select, but I think that's better. We grabbed some more of it. That's fine. I'm just gonna go with that. I mean, you could click select and mask one more time to preview it again. Looks fine. Let's go with that. This part would look weird, so let me refine that part real quick. There's a minus here that should remove some of that selection. Yeah, and then I'll click OK. And then just mask everything else out. Cool. If we remove the background, we can save this and we'll export it. Let's do PNG so we could have a transparent background. Make sure you turned off the white background so it's actually transparent and not white. Export. put this on the desktop. It was a really large image, so it's kind of taking long. I should have maybe scaled it down because I don't really need it that big. Remember, but the size that we're working with over there is 1080 by 1080. This image is 3000 by 5000. That's pretty big. So I could scale this by half and it would be okay. Let's do like 50%. I could even go less than that. Let's try 33%. Even 33% would be good. Let's export that. Just save over the other one. And let's bring her in. Hopefully this works better than the last image. Oh, now I don't like it. Now it looks weird. I'm gonna. I don't like the angle as much as I thought I would, so I'll rotate it. And since we have more room down here, I think I'll move the text down. Put the picture here. And then we've got this logo here and here and there. Um, uh, that's why it was better to have like the words between the logo and here, so you don't have the logo repeating too many places. So I guess I'll keep it here. Make this button a little bit smaller. Preview real quick. Presentation mode. That's fine, I think.
Beautiful.
Thank you. But I still think there's too much empty space here and here, and I would spend more time on this, grab a different picture. Um, Now I'm seeing that I think I need a picture that's more something down here, right? So if I went back to pixels, or let's try this one instead. Smiling. Which one is this? Unsplash? Different site. So like A picture like this with the head and the shoulders sticking out a little might work better. Head, shoulders sticking out. That probably might work better. But I don't know, the colors in her eye might be too distracting. So I'd find something more simple. Or this. Well, no, she's drinking something. That wouldn't work. This could work, but the image is a little dark. This could work, but missing tooth, we definitely don't want a picture of someone missing a tooth. This one's a little dark, but does have bright teeth. But then again, we could go with a the reason I didn't go with this color background right now is because I'm doing this in Illustrator. So if I was gonna add that dark background, I would want to do some fading and stuff. So it's better to do that in Photoshop. Let's just try it and see what it looks like. And plus, it has a very clear, well, empty background. Not a whole lot of contrast though. Let's see how this does.
You're mute.
Oh, sorry, I was muted the whole time.
Yeah.
Uh, anyways, hopefully you understood just by looking at it. So I'll went with the darker background on this, and
Yeah.
I used this picture because I didn't cut out the other one that great. I could take it to Photoshop and cut out the background and bring it back. I think I'd rather use the other image because this one is the same color as the background. So I would rather use this, but let's crop this properly. Let's release clipping mask. Let's delete that real quick. Close these. We don't need them anymore. See if we get a nice big picture of this. Copy image, new, paste, and just delete the background. So it should be easy to delete the white background. There's a we could use the object selection, but there's also a background eraser here, I think. Background eraser. There's also magic eraser. Magic eraser erased not just the background, but looks like it's also erasing the white inside the letters. We could also just do this. Magic wand. Delete the background. That's probably the quickest way. And then just to make sure we did a good job erasing that, let's add some other color to the background. Looks fine. Export that. And where did it go? It should be on the desktop. Why couldn't I see it? It's called gum. There it is. And just so it's not the same exact color as this, I should probably just, I don't know, change this a little, make it a little bit brighter. Do HSB. Bring this up a little. We're still, I think, keeping with the brand color. It's the same color, just a little different tint of it. So it still works. Now we got two ads. I think both work fine.